Well, this is one that is dear to our heart, and it is the White House warns it might withhold Smithsonian funds pending content review. This was announced back right before Christmas, and the White House, and the article says last week, now this would be a couple weeks ago at this point, but the White House warned the Smithsonian that if the museum did not submit more documentation to the administration to enable a review of its contents, funds may be withheld from the institution. There was a letter sent on December 18th to the Smithsonian secretary pointing out that there's notably incomplete records. And when I start reading through the article and looking actually at some of the exchanges, part of what is identified is that the initial documentation production that was presented wasn't what was requested. And the White House says the overwhelming majority of requested items remains outstanding. And this was a letter that they published, was sent to the Smithsonian Secretary Lonnie G. Bunch III. And they point out Executive Order 14253 was restoring truth and sanity to American history. It was the fulfillment to seek to stop what is, and this is the quote, widespread effort to rewrite our nation's history. So they recognize Smithsonians, they're rewriting so much history. And here's what's crazy about the request is they want to know from the current wall text, didactics, exhibition proposals and budgets, object checklist for upcoming programming, internal governance manuals, chain of command records, for content approval are non-obscure archival requests. What they said is we want to know, chain of command, who approved all this? You guys are doing so much. We want to know who approved it, and what they're asking is who is accountable, right? Who's going to be responsible? Who gets held accountable for all of the nonsense? They point out this is not a crazy request. Museums are supposed to keep record of who approved what areas, what displays, what wall mounts, and they sent this to the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian failed to tell them who put up some of the crazy stuff that is there. And Dad, you and I have gone through and reviewed several of the Smithsonians, and there's some crazy stuff there.
Yeah, I was going to point out that earlier in the year, White House asked us to look at some of that. And at that point, you were leading a tour of legislators in Washington, D.C., legislators from all over the country. And you said, hey, guys, as you go through the Smithsonian, and by the way, we love the American History Museum Smithsonian because of the artifacts, but not because of the way they present them. The way they present them is terrible. And so as the legislators went through, Tim, they came back to you and said, oh, man, this is terrible and this is bad. And so you turned that over to the White House on how bad the stuff was, how misleading it was. Again, they've got great artifacts, great stuff to see. Just don't read about them the way they put it out. So, I mean, you were right in the middle of that story.
Well, the fact that we have a president who puts out an executive order restoring truth and sanity to American history, working to stop the widespread effort to rewrite our nation's history. Guys, this is so encouraging that we actually have an administration saying, let's tell the truth. Let's stop this woke propaganda nonsense. Let's tell the truth. And they're actually just asking Smithsonians to show some basic records. And the fact that there is hesitance or resistance is very telling. And again, the fact that we have a president who's willing to hold funding, if you're going to be ridiculous, this is such good news. And I'm so excited for what this could mean for the 250th celebration, because this is part of what they're gearing it for. They want to make sure we're telling good stories for the 250th.